in 1 year?
The latest says that CHP and Caltrans is closed down both northbound and southbound I-5. Northbound I-5 has been closed at State Route 12, and traffic is being diverted State Route 12 in the eastbound direction to 99. In the southbound I-5 direction, traffic is being diverted off at Laguna Boulevard. Traffic can go eastbound on Laguna to 99. 99 has been reopened. Okay, one lane in the northbound direction and 2 lanes in the southbound direction.
What is the situation at I-5? Is there water, in fact, lapping up or threatening the structure of the freeway itself?
Basically, the roadway is just being threatened right now, and they do want to avoid the traffic being out there caught up in the flooded conditions.
Now, did you go ahead and decide to take this action because you have now reopened 99? I know there was some concern last night that you might shut down I-5, but is it because now you do have this other alternate for traffic?
Well, 99 was reopened because of the closure of I-5. They weren't totally prepared. They still had some maintenance to do on 99, but the conditions on 99 are that it's not flooded right now, but there is a little bit of, some mud and sludge that are out there. But the crews are out there trying to get that cleaned up, and that's why the lanes aren't totally open on 99. Traffic is going to be extremely slow on 99, and people are advised to avoid the area if all possible.
So this would be water coming from the Casunas River that is threatening Interstate 5 in South Sacramento County?
I'm not sure which levee broke and the reason for the flooding, but it is definitely due to an abundance of water, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Jim, do you have any idea of how long the interstate might be shut down?
At this time, we do not, cannot give an estimate as far as how long it'll be shut down.
So right now we're looking at all of this traffic emptying out to Laguna Boulevard, heading over to 99, and then going south.
That is correct. It's not going to be a very pleasurable commute, obviously.
Do you have any advice for people at this hour to avoid the area, I would imagine? Any other advice?
Basically, just be patient. I would definitely try to just avoid the area if all possible and listen to your radio, TV stations, and just keep up with the latest.
It's going to be a tough drive home for folks in Laguna and Elk Grove, no doubt. Thank you, Officer Machado.
You're welcome.
Another area that we've been following all afternoon is the rising Tuolumne River. The last time we checked with Tim Daly, there was this huge tank that was being pushed up against a train trestle. Were they able to get rid of that tank somehow?
Sharon, they changed their strategy halfway through trying to move that tank. Instead of jamming it through one of the holes of that trestle, they got a good hole in it, grabbed it, just dragged it all the way off to the side. That is no longer a problem. We don't want to report rumors in situations like this, but rumor has it another one of these tanks is headed our way. So we're keeping an eye on the Tuolumne. We're hoping that one of those tanks doesn't come down because it really will cause problems for the railroad folks just downstream of us. Kelly Houston of the city of Modesto is here now to bring us up to date on all the important issues affecting Modesto and also the county. And while we're talking with him, photographer Mark Pepper is going to go off and show us the Driftwood Mobile Park right here under the 9th Street Bridge. As you can see from the video here, this mobile home park is suffering seriously during all this flooding. So Kelly, tell us, what do we know now that maybe we didn't know a couple of hours ago?
Well, at the point that we're at on the 9th Street Bridge here, it's at 62.5 feet, which is well above flood stage being 55 feet. We expect that to reach 68 feet by 3 o'clock this afternoon. The record set here is actually 69 feet, which was back in 1956, and that's when we saw some record flooding in the Modesto area and along the Tuolumne River.
Earlier today we talked about 800 homes, 2,000 people evacuated. Does everybody who needs to know about the evacuation, have they all been alerted? Has all that occurred?
All of the evacuations have taken place. All of the notifications have taken place. They've gone back through and done second and third notices in the areas that are mandatory evacuation areas to let people know who may have missed this, may not know what's going on, to know that this is a mandatory evacuation area. And that's only the low-lying areas along the Tuolumne River that are affected. It's not downtown Modesto or, as was rumored, the whole community of Waterford. It's just the low-lying areas that are specifically targeted for this flooding.
Do we see other neighborhoods that have so far not had to evacuate being affected? Could the water rise so far that a whole new neighborhood or area of the county suddenly be alerted and told to leave?
Well, you know, obviously, based on the flows of water out of the Don Pedro Reservoir into the Tuolumne, there's a lot of other possibilities that could happen. But this whole floodplain is designed to flood for any problems up at the Don Pedro or any increases in runoff and high rains as we've seen. We have made all of the notices throughout Stanislaus County through the Emergency Operations Center, and at all the areas that could possibly be affected have been notified, and we hopefully don't anticipate any more evacuations. They've kind of got a heads up, and we're told what to expect, and some areas may not even see flooding, but we're just trying to be safe.
You had a chance to fly this morning over not just this area in Modesto, but also upstream towards, I guess, Waterford and Empire and the other small communities up there. What did you see? What was it like?
Well, essentially what we're seeing is a lot of the river breaking from its banks, going into orchards, just like here at the 9th Street Bridge, over into the floodplains and flood basin. There's a lot of flooding going on in a lot of areas that are affected up and downstream along the Tuolumne. So it's actually not as bad in some areas as we anticipated, but then again, we're not at the peak level of 68 feet that we anticipated to reach at around 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Were you telling me earlier you would expect flood conditions like what we're currently seeing to be evident here for several days?
Right. One of the possibilities is that we're going to expect these flooding conditions to last probably for the next couple of days at least, and upwards of a week. So anybody who's evacuated should be aware that they may be in a shelter for a while. They may want to find some alternate shelter locations, maybe a friend, some families. We just don't know exactly what's going to happen, and it's all based on what's happening in the Tuolumne. The community around the Loloma district, which is where Dry Creek flows through, that whole area is basically at the mercy of the Tuolumne. As it increases, that area floods even more. So we don't know how long it'll last. We're just going to kind of sit and wait and see what happens.
All right, Kelly Houston, thank you very much. He is with the city of Modesto, also acting really as a PIO, Public Information Officer for the county as well. So that is the very latest information. Though the river here will rise another couple of feet, it appears perhaps the worst is over as far as in terms of evacuations. Everybody who should have been told has been told, and there's not an issue of public safety in Modesto as we speak. But boy, what a picture, like I say, this is here. The Driftwood Mobile Park really tells it like it is here in Modesto. This is a serious flood. That's it. Back to you.
All right. And Tim, Kelly has been providing us with such good information, and this has become a major national story as well. Just to let you know, we've been hearing him, and let him know he's been all over the national newscast, too. It's interesting what happens in these disasters.
We've got Jeff McCracken with the Bureau of Reclamation on the line right now, and I guess you can update us on how flows are going through Folsom Dam and down the American River.
Yeah, we've got actually some pretty good news given all of the difficulties that are going on. The amount of water flowing into Folsom Reservoir has been decreasing, and this is going to mean that we're going to begin cutting our releases into the American River out of Folsom by about 10,000 cubic feet per second for the next 4 hours. That's going to take a little over 40,000 cubic feet per second out of the system, which is going to help relieve some of the volume that's going, number one, down the American and then down the Sacramento River. So we're going to be starting that at about 2 o'clock, which was actually about right now, and we'll be lowering our floodgates about 2.5 feet, and that'll cut the releases by about 10,000 cubic feet a second. So that's pretty good news.
All right, Jeff, I have a question for you. I know there were some problems along the levee. I believe it was near H Street that they were seeing a little bit of bubbling or boiling, that you call it, but it was clear. Have there been any problems along the American River levees that you can report?
No, the levees have held. The system has held along the American River, and the boils that they saw it's okay at this point in time, and I think with this reduction of releases out of Folsom now, that's going to relieve any additional. There should be no additional strain, and it should help these things quite a bit. So that should hopefully cure any additional problems that could occur along the American River system.
Jeff, earlier today we had some folks farther south in Rio Vista who were being told to be ready to evacuate in the low-lying areas. They were reluctant to do so, but they were saying that they were concerned about the releases and the timing of the tides. Has that been put into consideration?
Yeah, again,
Expected to crest at 68.3 feet by midnight tonight. Also of note, the situation in the Marysville area, where the Army Corps of Engineers recently breached a levee to relieve the pressure in the Feather River just above Bear River. Let's take a quick look at what's going on in our weather center with Dave Bender. Dave.
Well, Jennifer, the pressure on the weather is it's getting out of here. Let's show you what we've got coming in. The high pressure is actually it. All the moisture is working out of the area. Skies are clearing out. That cloud cover you see on the approach should not bring us any rain. At least forecast models show us with a dry weekend and a dry week straight ahead. More on that forecast coming up tonight at 10 o'clock.
And we'll be back for another quick update at 9.
This has been a KOVR 13 News special report.